So I found this post from the Pokey Investing subreddit that I wanted to share with you all because this is a very interesting case where a Pokemon investor decided back then 3 years ago to go pretty heavy into one specific card because they saw an opportunity and it paid off tremendously. So I wanted to give my thoughts on this because it is interesting where some people do this and it pays off extremely well, and talk about liquidity, that sort of thing. So $400 to $10,000 in 3 years. 575 copies purchased at an 80-cent average back in 2022. Market price is $18 at the moment. My most profitable spec ever, but I'll probably never be able to cash out. Gonna take a while to sort through these and grade them. So we're gonna be talking about these couple things that cashing out and grading. But let's just first see the raw just percentage gain that they've gotten from this investment. So just to look at this card, you can see here, market price is closer to $19 now, but we're just using $18 like what they said. You can see just in the past month, this has grown about 100%. In the past 3 months, it's grown about 400%. In the past 6 months, I guess it doesn't look as crazy here, but the year chart, which will give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek of the exact math here. Look at this, guys. This percentage gain is crazy. Now, if you want to just do the math, just on the calculator, 575 copies times the 80 cents, $460. You do the same math, but with the current market price to get the percentage gain. All you do is subtract the cost minus this market price, divide it by your cost, and then multiply by 100 for the percentage. So it's at 2,000. It's a 2,150% gain. So basically, exactly what it shows here. It's pretty similar. So that's an insane gain. I don't know anywhere you'll see really a 2,000 something percent gain, but on a card that was 80 cents, that goes up to $18. I mean, yeah, the percentages are obviously going to be pretty crazy and ridiculous. So interesting. Now, I want to talk about this sort of strategy that some people do, investing in a singular cards when they're extremely cheap. Now, these can be very hit or miss, right? But I think there was some sort of strategic play here with this. First of all, your loss. What is your risk? What are you risking in this investment? Investing into a single, you're risking what? What was the total cost? It was $460. That's what you're risking, right? Buying these at 80 cents each. What is your potential upside? Is it possible that maybe this card here never sees the light of day and it never goes above 80 cents? It's possible, right? And if you sell them, you're probably going to sell at a loss because you bought them for 80 cents. Let's say the market price is still, at whatever, whenever you're trying to sell it at the same price, you're going to lose money on it. But the most you'll lose is $460. So that's not, it's obviously depending on your financial situation, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money, right? So that was, the downside is just losing all of it. What's the potential upside? Well, in my mind, this person probably saw a vision like, okay, I'm getting these for 80 cents each. Whenever there's another anniversary, maybe it's possible that these will go up. And I think that's what they decided to do. And, what they thought about back then, that the risk or the downside was probably pretty low at 80 cents. And they bought all these copies and it has paid off tremendously, over a 2,000% gain. So that's very interesting. Now, speaking about the liquidity part, which is very important because obviously when you're, investing in something physical, you have to sell it. We all know that. But when you're investing into some sort of niche thing like this, right? It's not the most, popular card ever, but it has seen a significant gain because of the 30th anniversary that's coming up. How do you sell all these and what is the problems with liquidity? Now, you can ship all of these cards. You can do that. But it's going to be a pain, right? 575 copies, even if you sell a couple here and there, like in more higher quantities, you're going to be shipping possibly hundreds of envelopes or whatever. It's going to be a pain. It's probably not worth the money. Well, I mean, 10K, maybe it's worth it. Yep, probably, but it's a pain. So you could ship, but it's going to be a lot of work. You could try to sell online in bulk quantity, but then, you're going to have to find buyers in bulk quantity for this card. How sought after is this card? Can you actually sell 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 at a time online? It's going to be probably a little bit harder to move like that because who's spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on this specific card? So, selling online is a bit of a hassle. Something like this, if you're going to invest into singles in a bulk quantity like this, you could try to sell in person, which some of the comments suggested, which we'll get to the comments. But you'll have to find a buyer that wants to buy hundreds of these. And now they're $18 and they've skyrocketed. I don't know how easy it is to offload thousands of dollars of this specific card. I know the space, there's a lot of money flowing in, I get it, but even still, I don't know who's going to want to spend thousands of dollars on this specific card, especially when it's grown that much in the past bit. So selling in person might even be a problem. So that is one of the issues you could face investing into a single card, depending on how popular it is and whatever. Even if you see significant gains, if it's not a super popular, super sought after card and super mainstream, it might be harder to sell a large quantity. Obviously, you can drip feed into the market, sell a few here and there. But when you have this many copies and you're trying to cash all of it out at once, it can be difficult. But your best bet is to try to, go to a card show, whatever, try to sell them all to some booths, maybe sell 50 to one person, 50 to another person, and you go to enough booths and maybe you'll sell all of it. But definitely a singular cards like this that aren't like, it's not like a gray felt hat Pikachu or something, right? It's doable, but it's definitely more of a pain, which is why, there are probably still cards out there you could probably do the same play with. I don't know any examples, but probably maybe not in this market actually. Because everything's so dang expensive, but there's definitely plays that will be like this in the future that probably some people do. For example, maybe when the 30th anniversary comes up and maybe there's some cheap cards, people may buy those when they're super cheap or whatever, in anticipation for the next anniversary. That'll probably happen. There'll probably be opportunities, and maybe there will be some gains you see like this person has if you do that. I'm not guaranteeing it, but that is something to think about when you're doing this sort of play, is liquidity, which this person has mentioned. They even think that they're probably never going to be able to cash out, which I think it's possible, but it is going to take more work. You're going to have to do more, play, or more just thinking strategic, like selling, because other than that, it's not like you're selling sealed product where it's easy to sell thousands of dollars. Guys, whenever I sell sealed product, right, I sell pretty much every single time in the thousands of dollars. It's very easy. But when you have a singular card like this in many copies, hundreds, I don't think any person locally is. You're gonna have to find a very niche person to buy all of these cards. Now, this person is going to apparently sort these to grade them, which I think is a very smart play, because if you actually look how much the PSA 10 is going for, I don't know the pop reports or anything. I didn't do any research on that, but they're selling for about high threes, low 400s for this card in a PSA 10. So the return on that is like a what? So the card's $18. So that's like a 20x if they can get a PSA 10. So if this person has a good eye for PSA 10s, they can 20x even from that, and that'd be pretty crazy to do. I know there's problems with PSA now with the returns and stuff because there's too many people grading cards or whatever, but I still believe whenever the anniversary set comes out, it'll be sometime next year. They probably shouldn't. I don't know how long. I don't know if you guys grade cards or how long it takes to get them back, but I'm guessing if they get their cards back at least around the time the anniversary set is out, the card price still should be pretty high, so it'd probably still be worth it to grade them if they can. So that's definitely a play they can do. So if I was this person, they're probably gonna do just the grading stuff, and maybe the rest they're probably trying to sell, but it's gonna be a bit harder to sell this to one person. So let's just read some of the comments and we'd be done. Okay, here's this person. Who cares if this takes a year to sell or even longer? You toss it in an envelope, add some stamps, toss it in the mailbox. Amount of limiting thinking. Here's the actual problem. Grade the absolute best PSA 10 contenders, sell the rest slowly, making nice little sale here and there. It's slow but easy, profitable work. I mean, I understand that, but you gotta also understand it's 575 copies. Like, how many times you want to go to the post office, right? Liquidity is an issue not to be overlooked. He has only to make 400 back, then he's winning. Don't see a problem, just a bit larger amount than I'd personally gotten into myself. Time is money. Yup, with 575 copies, he could easily bring the value down single-handedly. Yeah, so if you have the time to do it, I guess maybe go to post office once every few days, and if you're selling it through eBay or something, or TCG Player, just sell them, or just like ship them all like at once and every few days, and maybe go to post office three times a week or something. But depending on how far away the post office is and your time, is it worth it? You got to make that decision. Your best bet is to go to a card show and sell and trade in person. Would be hilarious to see a stand just selling 600 copies of the same card. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know how many people are gonna buy 575 of these, or even just 500, whatever amount, like hundreds of these of the same card, especially this specific card. You still have to sell them. 575 copies just randomly popping in the market can also lower the price. If trickled in, it's going to take a long time and be a ton of work. Don't burst these delusional minds with logic. In this sub, it's all about screenshots of how much investments are worth without having any of the money actually in the bank. Now let's actually look at the sales volume for this. Looks like 216, maybe 5 to 10 are selling every single day, other than this one day where 164 sold. So yeah, guys, this is a issue of liquidity. As you can see here, if you have 575, if 5 or 10 are selling every single day, it's going to take months to sell all of them at that rate. I don't understand people saying this is too much work for 10K. That's like 3 to 5 months salary for many people. That's hard work. Have you ever tried selling singles? Have you ever tried to sell 500 copies of the same single? Yeah, I mean, that it definitely is an issue. We're talking about here. Like 2 of these sell a day, and this guy thinks he's gonna get $18 for all 575 copies. I mean, if you wanted to really just offload everything, like let's say you take out all the PSA 10 contenders, whatever it's at $18. Honestly, I know you're taking a huge loss, but if you wanted to sell it to somebody, sell it for like $10 a copy, and I bet you then it'll be much easier to sell. You're gonna have to probably undercut your profits, whatever, to sell them all at once. But if you want to liquidate all of them at now and just send the PSA 10 contenders, that's probably what I would do. Because yeah, selling at $18, I think it's gonna take a long time to sell them, especially if you're doing online and looking at the sales volume. It's gonna be kind of hard. So those are my thoughts about this. I think it's interesting that people who do this and take the risk, even though the risk, like I said, it's only $460. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. But seeing a 2,000+% gain is pretty crazy, and with the Mimikyu card, it's even crazier. But it's a pretty cool looking card. But obviously, it's because the anniversary is coming around, and this card has gone crazy within the past year. So that's all I want to share with you all. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.